Week Regional Forum. My name is Tanama, and I'm a proud spokesperson for the Caribbean Tree Planting Project and a representative of the resilient women of the Caribbean who exemplify strength and perseverance. Over the years, the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance mobilized Caribbean youths and organizations to plant over 1.5 million trees and hosted annual regional forums celebrating cultural heritage in the Caribbean while protecting biodiversity and spotlighting the role of partnerships for climate action, mitigation, and adaptation to achieve SDGs 13, 15, and 17. For 2023 and 2024, we will be working with you side by side to gather insights about funding and resources to unlock funding opportunities for civil society organizations and to support women-led climate actions. Yes, women are solution builders and catalysts for innovative solutions, and achieving gender equality is key to driving effective climate action. Under our new initiative, Women-Led Climate Philanthropy, we spotlight the indomitable women in the Caribbean who, like the trees we plant, stand tall, provide shelter, and inspire growth in the face of challenges. This initiative, with your partnership, will amplify women voices, including stories of our indigenous communities. I am so excited that you have joined us on this online forum this year as we continue to celebrate our collective achievements under the theme Targeted Financing for Gender Equity, Climate Actions, and Partnerships. So, welcome everyone, and let's get started to forge a path toward a more sustainable and resilient Caribbean.
Thank you, Tanama. It's always a pleasure to Tanama introduce this session. And it's wonderful that everybody's here to join us today. So welcome one and all to day 7 session of Philanthropy in Action Week, powered by Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance. Like great marketers of our time, like Martin Luther King Jr., Oprah, and Mandela, they all have one thing in common: a good story. Nelson Mandela said, "You talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart." Today, our session, entitled The Role of Creative Arts, Media, and Journalism to Facilitate Climate Action and SDGs, has been created to speak to your heart through creative expression, and to learn from our regional communities who are advocating for climate action as creative artists, as journalists, as cultural advocates. They will share their passion today for the environment and for social change through song, stories, spoken word, poetry, and through the sharing of creative actions to fuel advocacy. Stories have an unmatched ability to evoke empathy and to create emotional connections, making our work more relatable and compelling. We as individuals or organizations share the stories not only to inspire others to join our cause, but we share it as a testimony to our work and to share our impact in making a difference in the lives of families and children in our communities. So today, our creative speakers, guest speakers, will spotlight the role of storytelling, including a scientist that is here in our midst who's going to help us link both art and science to break down very complicated concepts for our youngest of children in the Caribbean. They will all share how they humanize complex issues through their creative expression. And so I lift you up today. We lift you up very high. We thank you for sharing your passion and commitment to social change and to climate action. So we're looking forward to all of you speaking today and sharing with us. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce you to our co-moderators, who are not strangers to many of us. who are movers and shakers and inspirational leaders for change within the Caribbean. Our first co-moderator that I would like to introduce is Jamila Falak. She's a creative musician. She's a singer. She's a songwriter. She's a producer and a Carrefour Regional Youth Coordinator. She is a creative entrepreneur. She's a photojournalist, an activist, and a philanthropist. As Jamaica's only female singing upright bassist, it's hard for her to stand out, not to stand out. She's no stranger to the music industry. Jamila has worked with the likes of Shaggy, Mikey Bennett, Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, Sharon Burke, and Sharon Anderson, amongst many others. She's a recipient of the Prime Minister's National Youth Awards for Excellence, 2019 for Arts and Culture, a nominee for the Governor General's Achievement Award 2023. She's made a solo debut in January 2019, releasing her first single called Lala Lady, produced by her mentor and second father, legendary Jamaican songwriter Michael Mikey Bennett, along with Sonovic, which features in the Emmy-nominated film Jacqueline and Jilly, produced by Victoria Rowell, and it goes on and on and on. Jamila is the founder of Plant and Play Initiative, cultivated cultural community of creatives working towards philanthropy and climate action, and she works locally as well. And she just received a reward last year, Forest Heroes Award 2022, Youth in Forestry Award by the Forestry Department. And I know that she just received another award this year. And I guess she will talk to you about that as well, or we'll share it to you later. Our other co-moderator, founder and CEO of Y Farm, Alpha Senon, is the founder and executive director of Y Farm, a visionary initiative aimed at nurturing the future nourishers of 2050. Thank you for thinking ahead, Alpha. He introduced the groundbreaking food and nutrient security superheroes, Agriman and Photosynthesis, and launched the captivating Agriman Adventures comic book series in Trinidad and Tobago and beyond. Alpha's Y Farm has been bolstered by prestigious organizations such as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Krishna Impact Foundation, the Thought for Food Foundation, and Digicel, and all uniting a common mission to address youth disengagement in agriculture. And you can read more about Y Farm at your leisure as well. Alpha has earned distinction as the first Ashoka Fellow in Trinidad and Tobago, a member of the prestigious SONEX class, and a prominent thought leader and social entrepreneur, and recognized across the world. And I know that you probably are across the world now representing the Caribbean as we speak. And so I welcome both of you to the stage, and I look forward to your moderating the panel today and being part of this distinguished honor today. So over to you both, to Jamila and to Alpha.
Thank you, Anthea. Pleasant to everyone.
Thank you, Anthea. Hi,
Yeah.
Alpha. How are you doing?
I am good, excited for this amazing event this afternoon. I hope everybody is all ready and set to go to discuss this amazing topic, which I believe to be one of the strongest topic coming out of the entire week, you know? So how are you doing, Jamila?
I am doing all right. I'm just looking at how time flies. We're here again, another year.
Yeah.
We did this last year, and every year we do it even better. So it's a pleasure to be definitely, using the arts and speaking on
We
the
lost
arts.
you there? We lost you?
You hearing me now?
No.
Yeah, she's fine. We're hearing her.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying it's a pleasure to always be speaking on the arts as a catalyst for change, because it's very, very important, as we can all attest to. So we're going to go into our first speaker for today. How are you, Dr. Sonia? Are you here? Dr. Sonia Peters? She's up. and I'm going to read
I'm
about
here.
her. Okay, great. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you.
Nice. It's a pleasure to see you again
Same
virtually. I
here.
can't wait to see you in person
Same
one
here.
day. So we're going into Dr. Sonia Peters. So Dr. Sonia Peters is a natural product chemist and executive director of the Biocultural Education and Research Program, founding director of Heritage Teas Barbados, and director of Bioscience Barbados Limited. After years of lecturing in chemical education, she retired as head of the Department of Chemistry, Division of Natural Sciences, Barbados Community in 2017 and established the nonprofit organization BERP to communicate with the public on issues of biodiversity through a platform of science engagement. She initiated the development of educational tools, including workshops, courses, and symposia to arm the public with knowledge that would create investment in the conservation of plant resources and embedded traditional knowledge. The biannual symposium, Plants and Planting for the Future, brings together scientists and the public for exchange in the matters of food security and health. Her publications include papers in peer-reviewed journals and conference proceedings on the discovery of natural products, the book Seed, Under the Leaf on biocultural traditions for health and activity book, Yabisi Guada, designed to reconnect youth and adults to local flora of traditional value as mitigation for the loss of biodiversity and traditional knowledge. The science engagement platform being offered by BERP has been recognized as one of the noted programs in 2020 by the Falling Walls Engagement Foundation in Berlin, Germany, and has been placed on their World Engagement Map. Dr. Peters, we are over to you.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
am very pleased to be among the abundance of creative energy on this panel. And one may wonder, what is the relationship between chemistry and climate action? But we take our chemistry to the level of our biodiversity and what that biodiversity has to offer us as we respond to climate change. For me, I came out of the somewhat rigidity of academia because I felt that our populations were not being armed with knowledge to have them respond. We expect modification in behavior that would see us heading in the direction of more sustainable living. But often we talk to our people, but we don't really talk with them. And this is where I see art as an effective mechanism by which we can engage our public and arm them with that knowledge they need in order to act responsibly. The issues of climate change, we know, are surrounding biodiversity loss, impacts on agriculture, food security, and health. And how do we communicate that with the public to make sure that they are on board with the programs that we are promoting as individuals on the ground working? I'd like to share a couple examples, and I know that we'll have ample time for more discussion. But in our capacity, there is a very close direct link between biocultural diversity and plant biodiversity. And embedded within there is traditional knowledge, which more and more is being recognized as important for engagement. So we did this beautiful documentary called Healing Roots. I think the title of its own represents that emotional connection, Healing Roots. This was done in collaboration with Dr. Julia Jordan Zachary, who was a keynote speaker at the beginning of this fantastic initiative offered this week. by the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance. And in this documentary, we engaged our public, specifically targeting elders in the community, so that we could hear their voices, we could capture their voices, we could capture their traditional knowledge, and at the same time have that linkage to our plant biodiversity. That if we do not take these opportunities, we're going to see them being lost. So Healing Roots was an effort to heal in terms of the minds of our people, to let them understand that we're champions for protecting their heritage knowledge, we're champions for seeing the value in their traditional knowledge, and we are champions on the ground, making sure that we are arming them with what they need to understand what climate change is, how it impacts on our lives, and how they can become partners in our climate action. Another example I would like to show is one that is being done called Homo sargassum. The audacity of that name, Homo sargassum, is a project that is being directed, and I have to make sure I get the names correctly, Vanessa Self and Louisa Maraco. This is an itinerary exhibition, as they describe it, a video exhibition, where 25 artists from the Caribbean, West Africa, and Latin America collaborate to bring attention to the public health and ecological impact of the sargassum influx. This project is on YouTube. There is a beautiful introductory video where you see the importance of art as a means of communication. We've all had to deal with the sargassum influx. It has impacted on lives, it has impacted on livelihoods, it has had a major impact on our tourism sector, which we know economically is what the Caribbean is very dependent on. And therefore, we have to respond. We have to extend partnerships and find solutions, and we have to communicate. And this Homo sargassum project, I think, is so important and so vital as an outreach to the public, and the mechanisms and the methods they use are very engaging. And I recommend you follow them on YouTube and be introduced to this major project. The number of participants themselves, each one will function as a beacon for spreading that information. Healing Roots is also on YouTube, and I recommend that you go and have a look at this video. The elders are always very entertaining, and there's lots to learn from them. I'd also like to talk about one other example where art has become so very important in communicating ideas. And this is coming from a local organization, a Barbadian organization again, led by Susan Mahon, who is a former director of the Belleuse Research Institute, the McGill Belleuse Research Institute. She felt the need to come from her substantive post and establish a nonprofit organization called Corral that is looking at coral reef restoration. It's a coral reef restoration project being manned by the Coral Reef Restoration Alliance. And in engaging community activism, she decided to produce a mural that spoke to sustainable development goals and engage the public to come in and make their impact and input in the development of the mural. This mural was so inviting in terms of the organizations that participated, and received great support by the United Nations Development Program. And this mural is now part of the artwork within the UNDP. In recognition of this contribution, Corral was recommended for the Earthshot Prize. And we know how valuable that Earthshot Prize is. And though they were not winners at the time of recommendation, what it did demonstrate is the importance of art as a means of communication for climate action as we respond to climate change. And thank you for the introduction and sharing this aspect of organizations that are employing this mechanism. And I look forward to further contribution, and I welcome all of the creative, all of the artists that I've been listening to before we came on, and I look forward to your contributions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peters. We commend your work and the work that you continue to do in this space, in merging the arts and the work that you do in the bio space as well.
Thank
We
you.
have a question for you here. How does storytelling contribute to engaging people emotionally and intellectually in the fight against climate action? What are your takes on that?
Yes, these sharing narratives is extremely important. As mentioned in my bio, we produced the Bicultural Education and Research Program, recently published a heritage coloring book. And this book is more than a coloring book. This is actually in response to biodiversity loss and loss of traditional knowledge. In this book, you will connect with the narratives around these plants and their importance, stretching from back in the time of slavery when our islands were colonized up to our contemporary applications. You read about the importance when young people were foraging, when the village community was acting as one. And you also connect with the plant life. The images were done as collages by artist Lenore Ali, who went into the field. She didn't want to go and take snapshots from elsewhere. She went into the field. She went into the green spaces to interact with the plant material. And then she made a number of collages for each plant and decided on which collage she wanted entered into coloring book. So there's great textural beauty in that book. There's great narrative eloquence in that book. And we had a beautiful feedback from one of the elders in the community who was gifted with this book. And she commented that she was taken back to her childhood and she could not put down the book. She spent hours upon hours being engaged. And this is the importance, this is the importance of the means of communication. I mean, we could go to her and tell her about what we think climate change is. We could define traditional knowledge. We could define biodiversity, but we don't have to because it's in the book and she has recognized it and it has touched her at her heart. And this is the importance of engaging, using this as a means of communication.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Sanyas. We really quickly, could you just tell me how we could get access to this book?
The book is sold at bookshops here on island, but interestingly, we're working with Arizona State University, Barrett Honors College, and the Global Resolve Program. And we will soon have the book available online. And I will send out those links as soon as that is completed.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Peters.
Thank you
Hope you
very
stick
much.
around for the
talking
rest
with
of the show. All right. Alpha, you still there?
I'm right here, locked and loaded, and taking it. Lovely, lovely.
All
Dr.
right.
Peters, thank
What
you for
do
the
we have next on the plate?
Well, what we want to do now, we want to invite a very special performance. We want to invite Delano David Rapsey, who's a singer, songwriter, and musician, straight out of the land of soca, Trinidad and Tobago, to do a performance for us. So Delano, are you there? Yes, you are.
Yes, yes, I am.
All right, great. So over to you.
Check 1, 2.
Loud and clear.
Just relax, 'cause everything is going to be fine. The animals will sing while the humans cry. Those are the people who are worth the fight. Yeah, yeah, yo. So just react. The green grass grows with infertility. The wisdom of a fool is not in vain. When we are left unfooled by what we see and what we feel, listen. Something is pounding away at your head, and you are feeling misled, sensing surroundings which should not exist. But to survive, all those thoughts are dismissed. Waiting for leaders to show is like planting a seed on the dry ground while hoping it grows. So show me your green eyes, show me your green smile, show me your green soul, show me your green world. Show me that you have a green heart to hold. We blessing up the creatures that are fighting for life. We blessing up the people who assist in the fight. And if you're not fighting, remember one thing. The life that we breathe in is a life that we live. No need to rush, slow down and analyze. One life is what you have to do what's right. Let's bring one love back together and sing. The life that we breathe in is a life that we live. So live and just relax, 'cause everything is going to be fine. Yeah. The animals will sing while the humans cry. And those are the people who are worth the fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Delano. Just relax. Everything will be fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very powerful, relevant, and relatable message there.
Very true.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jamila, what do you think about that?
Wonderful. Delano, a big singer from long time still. If you guys have not checked out his music, please check him out. Delano David Rapsey.
Yeah, no,
Delano,
it's
thank you. Where can people
it's-
find you online
Oh,
if they want to listen to your
well,
music?
right now, I'm actually working Noche Blanca music, but I'm working on a special little project. And it involves, well, you know, we have an influx of Latinos in this country. So
Yeah.
it was not me who started the project. It's actually my best friend. She works in Unipet Energy, which is transformative energy. Unipet is known as fossil fuels, just like NP. But she is working in a specific branch of Unipet. And she's this really nice soul, really wonderful soul. She decided to pick up on something that Trinidad is lagging on, which is the Latinos in Trinidad and Tobago are not getting any education whatsoever. There are certain promises. However, if those people are left unattended, it will turn into something that we cannot hold back instead
Right.
of an asset. And taking this opportunity to say that these people, if left poor, will impact climate change negatively. But if fed rich with knowledge and you teach them to teach themselves, they could end up creating a wave of positivity. So we're starting up a little project, and I would let all you know about that in the future.
Thank you.
Nice,
How can
man.
people find you online? Real quickly.
Noche Blanca music.
Okay.
That's White Night in Spanish, music.
Okay.
All
Got
right.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Nice, man. Respect.
Yes.
Thanks. Love it, love
All
it.
right, man, Alpha. I like how you beat the drum last time, eh?
Yes, 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 yes. Always, man.
Right, man.
Respect.
All right,
Right.
bye-bye. I have to go
Bye.
on time for my mother.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
wants
yeah.
to
You
go
go do
live.
your thing, man. Your work is done here this evening, but continue the great work, brother.
Yes, sir. Mr. Alpha.
Take care.
Bless.
All right. So now we wanna I wanna invite Aisha Constable. Jamila, that's right, that's correct, right? We're going into Aisha Constable.
That is correct.
All right, so welcome, Aisha. So let me tell you all a little bit about Aisha, very short and sweet here. Aisha Constable has a doctorate in geography from the University of the West Indies, UWI. She's a climate change and agriculture researcher. And from a feminist approach, she works as an academic activist. She is co-founder of Girls Care and founder of the Youth for Climate Action Jamaica. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Welcome this afternoon, Miss Constable, and how are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm trying to unmute myself. I'm doing good, thanks. I'm happy I got to experience or singer just now. That gave my spirit a bit of a lift.
Yes. So thanks for being here, and thanks for representing this afternoon. You know, it's important for us to have these conversations. So, you know, we absolutely want to hear from your perspective, so that give us a little bit about what elements makes a climate change story more effective in capturing the attention and empathy of audiences. If you could share a little bit about that. I mean, even before that question, you could give a little bit more insight into your work as well too, and then probably dive into the meat of it.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm very happy to hear how the conversations have kind of evolved, starting with, I think, Miss McLaughlin, am I saying that correctly? And Thea, who I think answered the question, has answered the question that you're now posing to me, because I think when she spoke to the way in which speaking a language that someone understands goes to their head, as opposed to speaking to someone in their language goes to their heart. I think that's the crux of what my response is anyway. So that I think was a nice summary of my overarching thoughts on the question. My work is largely geared towards bringing these issues into the conversations around climate change and climate justice. And I think Dr. Peters just now also spoke to this in terms of appealing to cultural or using cultural expressions and appealing to people's emotions and senses and centering empathy in the work. I always knew that my emotions were too close to the surface for me to shy away from being in the work or being in spaces where I'm allowed to acknowledge them. And I think, thankfully, over the years, the climate conversations have evolved to the point where the issues and the conversations around empathy and justice and social inclusion are now normalized somewhat. I think very early on, when climate change was being discussed, it was largely with the very heavy scientific framing, and there was very limited consideration for the softer side of the conversation. And if you thought to bring the softer side into the space, you people look upon you funny, like, who are you? This is a scientific issue where you got to talk about feelings and where you're bald for, and why are you angry and why are you sad? Is straight science and numbers and statistics. And I think in doing that, the impact was such that it left some people out of the conversation. There were people who could not relate to the heavy scientific center discussions around climate change. It also did not, I think Dr. Peters said this earlier too, it also did not have a human face. We talked about climate change in terms of what would happen to the flora and the fauna. We talked about climate change as a question of carbon emissions into the atmosphere. And we talked about ice caps melting and polar bears dying. And so there was not an emphasis on humanizing the issues. And again, increasingly, we're seeing where the use of the arts, I would say, has led to a transformation of sorts in the ways in which we understand and present these issues. And so my work in Girls Care and in YPAC and in a number of other spaces where I operate at the moment centers on bringing more of these conversations or bringing these issues into the conversations more. So, for example, the project which I'll share a little bit about, and Jamila and Rika will speak to in their presentation, is one where we strategically decided that we were training young women to use photography to document climate change impacts. Again, with the understanding that there's this heavy scientific interpretation of what climate change impacts are on the ground. We know droughts, we know reduced rainfall, we know the issues around heat increases. But very often when the conversations are had, it is without the centering of the individual human experiences. And so this project, which we implemented in Jamaica in conjunction with an organization called the NAP Global Network, based in Canada, and another entity called Lensational, based in Kenya, it equipped the participants in Jamaica, 7 of them, including Rika and Jamila, with cameras, and allowed them to determine what were the climate change impacts, or the ways in which climate change were being experienced in the communities that they're a part of, and how were communities responding, how were they adapting. And so I think in very, like off the bat, what we were considering was how do we give them the tools to tell the stories, like Dr. Peter said, in their own language? How do we empower them to speak to the issues and the experiences that for them matter the most? Again, we have these very technical documents that guide what is happening at the national level. But again, very often there's this disconnect between what these policy documents say and what the lived experiences are at the household and the individual level. And so we wanted to kind of shift the narrative and shift the approach so that it was more bottom up. They went into these communities, physical communities, but also, communities based on identities, and had these conversations with their subjects, for want of a better term, about how climate change was impacting them and how they were responding. What were the tools that they were using to navigate the crisis, on their own. What we saw was very direct benefits or immediate lessons for us in terms of what adaptation practitioners and policymakers must consider. It goes back to the conversations that we've been having from the start of this about centering people, making empathy and justice very integral to the conversations, giving the people who are being most impacted, who best understand the context, the tools to tell those stories. How do we validate these experiences at the community level and amplify them at a level where policymakers nationally and even globally understand that there is a more direct connection between what we are developing in these closed door settings and what people are experiencing. And sometimes what the solutions that we are putting forward even do not match up with the realities of these people. I think one of the biggest takeaways for us coming out of this, for example, was that beyond climate change, and it's not that for those of us who are practitioners in this space that we didn't understand it, but I think it was affirmed in such a powerful way that everybody left the culminating event of this and the display thinking to themselves, okay, we need to do better at this. So the issue of understanding how existing and current socioeconomic and political realities are exacerbated by climate change or exacerbate climate impacts was for all of us, I think, a major lesson, right? So amplifying those experiences, understanding how existing realities and how contextual realities shape how people are impacted by climate change in not the kind of abstract way that we would do this work previously. You know, we don't stay in the boardroom and, you know, make some assumptions based on one news clipping or one case study, but really going to the people and having them say that this is the reality, and using that in turn to shape the policy prescriptions that we put forward and the adaptation interventions. And then I think the other thing is that in approaching it in this way, we amplify the ethical concerns around this work. So, you know, we give people the space to speak about what matters most to them. We treat them with the kind of respect and regard that makes them feel dignified and humanized as a part of this work. And I think that's also in a way that academia does not traditionally do. And Dr. Peters, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but it's in a way, in academia, you have these, you know, ethical considerations that you have to in a checkbox kind of way. But when you are as a human being interacting with another human being, it can't be checkbox. You know, it's a connection. It goes beyond the more superfluous ways in which you would want to do this work. And there's definitely no room for the pretense and the mask. Like, you definitely have to let your guards down and let honesty and empathy come forth. And it's only in that way, when these people really connect as partners, as equals. You know, in research, we talk about positionality and where do you sit and what the power that you hold. In the creative spaces, there is this, you know, removal of all of those, and you see the other party as on equal footing, a partner in this process, and you treat each other with that level of regard. And I think it's especially important that, and I think Rika and Jamila can speak to this extensively, you know, when you as a photographer, for example, go into a community and you are trying to build a relationship and really get at the core of what is happening in these spaces, and building that relationship with a subject, like, you better put on your hype and you better put on your sense of importance. Otherwise, they're not going to give you the kind of feedback that allows for you know, an honest expression of the realities that would then inform the truth telling that you want to do through your storytelling, right? And so, again, I think, you know, just more broadly, being able to do this and center it in this way has given us a kind of resource, and I don't want to use power, because power can be so negative in this context and so negative, but it has given us a tool and a platform to do this work in ways that it has not customarily been done. And in the Caribbean, for certain, as it relates to climate change, very novel approach, but a way that I think is a blueprint for doing you know, this work going forward, and ways in which I believe that I'd be happy to see us expand on and build on based on the lessons that we've learned from it. You know, I think using these tools, and then of course tying them with the social media tools that we use to then publish these stories and amplify these stories, gives us a much wider platform than we could have ever dreamed. And then beyond that, you know, just being able to challenge people's emotions and sensibilities beyond the very rigid framing of climate and these experiences, giving them a peek into the worlds in which people exist beyond which they were previously exposed. I think it has taken us to another level as an organization, which is Girls Care, but even for myself as a climate change and adaptation practitioner, a way that allows me to really center justice and not just say we do that, but do it in practicality. You know, I found it serendipitous, Jamila, after we had our briefing recently, you had sent me something via YouTube, and then right beneath that was the video, The Danger of a Single Story. And then I wrote that down because I found that to be, you know, kind of such a serendipitous nudge towards using that even as a framing for this work and the arts. You know, climate spaces and climate conversations, I think traditionally were dominated by one set of people who had these tools that they had at their disposal, and then, you know, arts and crafts and music and all these other ways of doing this work and tools, I think, have allowed us to really avert that danger of the single story. And so all these other players and partners are now having the opportunity to tell their story in their own language and really reaching hearts, you know, and taking the lessons to transform their own realities in very powerful ways. So I think that would be the clincher for me. Arts being a pathway to averting the danger of the single story, by putting the resources into the hands of other people to tell their stories.
Wow, 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 wow. I was looking for the fire reaction emoji as you was just blazing up the response there, but I didn't find it. So I found the clap and I found the heart. I love everything which you were saying there. And it's just a big reminder to me. One of my favorite taglines is this, right? You can't wait until university to teach young people about food security. And you can't wait till you get a PhD to learn about climate change adaptability. And what you were saying there, it solidified and it proved me right. Right? So thank you so very much. And climate change is not everybody's problem, you know, so we had to bring it down to everybody, for everybody to understand it through, as you said, through pictures, through storytelling, videos, whatever we need to do, and it's not a one conversation thing. So, and it's not a single story. So, Jamila, tell me.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, big up yourself, Aisha. I'm here with Rika. And we're more than happy to, you know, take over from you and just follow in your footsteps. Me don't claim me as one of my new mentors and things. But thank you so much, first and foremost, Aisha, for the opportunity to be one of the trainees or two of the trainees from the Envisioning Resilience Jamaica program. It's been a very momentous time for me and Rika and our other sisters that we've crafted a sisterhood within the pack. So a brief rundown of our experience within the program. We're 6 women across Jamaica and different walks of life who have been selected out of a batch of applications. And we were honored and grateful to have been selected to be trained as photojournalists. Our tasks were to encapsulate, go into communities, encapsulate what is happening on ground within the communities we've chosen to go into and see where climate change is affecting these communities, right? You want to add on to anything, Rika?
Yeah, a huge part of it is that for all of us, prior to this training, we were just kind of living in the experience of climate change adaptation and mitigation here and there, but didn't necessarily have the language for it, weren't necessarily, you know, able to kind of carry on the conversations that we're able to have since going through it. And that's something that definitely informed our practice as we went through the process of putting together our photo stories.
Right. And so we were adept with the training by one of Jamaica's best photographers, Mr. Jick Rubin, on how to tell these stories and how to think about going into these spaces and build relationships and be ethical about capturing the essence and the emotions and the realities of what is happening on ground in these communities. So this is Rika G. My apologies. This is Rika G, is one of my sisters, and it's been a pleasure being a part of this program with you and a whole heap of aspects of life. But yes, she's phenomenal poet, now photojournalist, and amongst other things in the creative arena and the STEM. She was in day 3 in the Caribbean Philanthropy. Am I mistaken? Yeah. She was on day 3 and now she's back here, and we're gonna walk through a collective story. Our other sisters in the program couldn't be here today, so we're going to be representing our collective story.
So a bit of context as we get into the collective story. Each of us, as Jamila mentioned, went into 6 different communities. Some people were working from their family, some people just from their home community, and then ones like us kind of stepped outside of our everyday spaces because you know it's a we want to get the full spectrum of the experience on the island, and we found certain themes to hold true throughout our stories and our experiences, and we're able to compile that into this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So in the community of Cocoon in Hanover, Jamaica, there has been no adequate running water for at least 2 generations, and it has been 12 years since a single drop of water has come out of the residents' pipe. The blue drum have now been a staple in every household. It signifies the reliance on rainwater harvesting for household chores. But with the changing patterns of rainfall, residents are forced to seek alternative sources of water as the blue barrels can no longer provide for their needs. Residents then have to rely on the river to wash their clothes and do other domestic activities with the change in climate conditions. Even the rivers are running dry. Mhm. And these are pictures, of the rivers and all of that. This is the next one.
Indigenous communities such as the Rastafarians primarily eat a plant-based diet. Due to the changing climate, agricultural production is reduced and food security for the community is at risk. The Rastafari indigenous village in Montego Bay is greatly affected by the drying out of rivers. The community fears that river culture, which is a huge part of the culture of Rastafari, is being lost. Members of the Rastafari community can go to the river for eco tours, recreational activities, spiritual purification, and to rekindle their connection with nature. Love.
Plastic, which was once seen as trash and a contributing factor to the climate crisis, is what is saving households suffering from the water crisis. Not being able to fill all the plastic bottles in the household means inadequate water for cooking, cleaning, and basic hygiene. This is especially important for women and girls who are on their menstrual cycles. Across Jamaica, the increasing heat waves have been impacted on the beings of well-being persons. In my community in Richmond Park, or in the community of Richmond Park, the expanding concrete footprint means increasing heat waves in homes and poses risks to persons with respiratory illnesses such as asthma.
Picture. So with regards to life-threatening circumstances, it's not just the heat that is putting lives at risk in our communities. So this picture here shows Raymond, the waterman, and Raymond risked his life to traverse volatile communities downtown to collect water due to the lack of plumbing infrastructure in Rosetown. The current infrastructure was built and funded by community members with no external or governmental support. As climate change compounds the challenges of poor governance and planning in communities such as Rosetown, we are trying to break the cycle of water poverty for younger generations. So whereas men tend to be responsible for transporting water in their communities, women are most often responsible for the domestic tasks. All of our communities depict visions of resilience every single day by adapting and sharing the responsibility of surviving droughts and increased heat together. Our greatest adaptation to climate change is collective action. It's the men who gather the water, it's the women who manage the resources, and the youths who do their part to learn and grow to hopefully find innovative ways to alleviate this climate crisis. Everyone plays their role at the grassroots level, and all we need now is for our governments and policymakers to do the same.
You've heard our stories, you've seen our photos. We have shown you from the different lenses that we have all communicated through our lens, and how we respond and adapt to climate change, especially droughts and water shortages. What is missing from this is the vision of resilience, and that's you and that's me. So the question lies, what can you do? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamila. Thank you, Erica. Blessings, blessings, blessings. You know, what can you do? What can we do? What are we doing? And I think this is us here this afternoon with us, with bringing together these bright, young, powerful leaders out across the region to say what you're doing to inspire others to do same, to do similar, to do themselves, to create change. So I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Big respect, big respect.
Big respect, enough love. All right, so we're transitioning now to our Panama creator himself, Mr. Tony Lou. Tony, are you here?
Yes,
Tony,
I'm here.
how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, and you? I'm so glad that I'm here today
I'm
with you
so happy to
guys.
see you. I'm so happy to see you, and I can't wait to meet you in person. We've been doing this year after
I know,
year, and we
right?
still haven't met.
Yes,
We
that's
need to
true.
change
That's
that
true.
at some point.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I take the opportunity to ask you this question before we jump into your segment. How do
Yes.
personal narratives and individual experiences of climate change help to create a sense of urgency and relevance among the public? How do you see that encapsulated in the work that you do? And how do you, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that personal narrative and individual experiences of climate change help create a sense of urgency and relevance among the public by making the abstract issue of climate change concrete and relatable. When people share their stories and experiences, tangible, empathy, and a strong emotional response, driving home the fact that climate change is not just a distant or theoretical concern, but something that affects real people and communities. It also empowers individuals, to take actions, and as they can see that their choices and behaviors can make in the lives of others and the world as a whole. And in essence, purpose make climate change personal, helping the public to it's an issue that impacts them, their families, and their communities, which in turn fosters a sense of urgency and relevance. And in my comic book, that's what I do. Like I go out, people that are especially when I was living in Haiti. Now I'm in Haiti anymore, especially because of everything that's happening in Haiti. I had to country, but through my work, I try to talk to the more people that I can and ask them how and how affects. And I remember going to the Dominican Republic with Small Farmers Alliance, Smallholder Farmers Alliance, and we were at the border. There's a picture on the internet where you see Haiti and you see how the Dominican side and the Haitian side is dry, and it's not a fictional picture. I've been there, and it's kind of sad what's happening, and especially right now, there's a whole issue about a canal that's happening where there's is the water in Haiti, but it's been providing water to the Dominican Republic lands. that helps them with the agriculture, and there's nothing going on to the Haitian side. So it started with a group of Haitians. Now it's like a whole movement. Haitian agriculture. They're taking water and building a canal so can water their land. So it's a very important thing that's happening right now. And yeah, that's, if I answer your question, that's really how I and how I try my best to talk with people that are directly climate change.
Beautiful. Thank you for that very beautiful response. Totally did. I'm gonna take the privilege of introducing you properly so that everybody can get a context of or remember who you are. So Tony
Thank
Liu
you.
is a visual designer, comic book author, and creator born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. In 2013, he received a bachelor's degree in fine arts and illustration from the Altos de Chavannes School of Design in the Dominican Republic. Tony began creating comic books in 2012 and under the mentorship of a comic book legend, Rich Buckler, he created Haiti's first hero named Datoa. Am I pronouncing it?
Jatao.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. Jatao.
In 2017, he was one of two artists chosen to represent Haiti in the fifth Libero American Design Biennial in Madrid. In 2018, he was interviewed by Conan O'Brien and was featured on his Netflix show, Canon Beyond Borders. Without further ado, I introduce to you Tony Liu.
Thank
Over
you.
to
Thank
Tony.
you. And what I will add to is I published the second volume of comic books, Metamorphosis, and in Washington D.C. And I was able to publish it to several comic book shop in Washington D.C. And it was 3 days publishing it into local comic book shop. And the final day, I received a call from the Library of Congress, which is the biggest library of the United States, and they told me that they heard the work that I've been doing with Tanama. And because if you look at it, the all mainstream superheroes, Superman, Batman, or whichever name it, Black Panther, they're living in a fictional world, but they don't really advocate for real problem, real issues that's happening. So Tanama, she's also a spokesperson for this event, which is amazing. And so the Library of Congress asked me, told me that they want my comic book to be on their special collection as an independent author and comic book creator. And that's a great honor to be the first comic book artist, independent, to be in this library, and to be recognized not only because it's a comic book talking about superhero fighting villains, but it's also talking about gender equality. It talks about agriculture, about tree planting. So I wanted to say that because there's not a lot of black superheroes that are out there and doing. Hello?
Hey, Tony, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
That is amazing. Congratulations, first and foremost. That's big, 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 big news. I'm seeing Talia here in the comments. She's saying that we need to bring Tanaman, Agriman together.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I'm like I always say to other creatives and creators that I love collaborating with artists, with people. It brings more to the table, and also I learn from them and they learn from me as well. So and it's for a greater cause. So whenever the time is ready, I am ready for sure.
Yes, so am I. When the time aligns, definitely. We'd love to hear more from you about what's going on with Tanama. We've had her for a while. Are there any updates that you can share?
Well, I'm working on the third volume of the comic book. And the latest update is the time I made it to the Library of Congress, and that's the latest update. I've been on pause time a little bit because now I've been learning coding and computer programming, and now that
Oh,
I'm
wow.
Linux Red Hat certified, it's a totally new world for me because I've been an artist all my life, but I love to challenge myself and how I see the future, how technology is very much expanding, especially like AI. And I thought that what if I learn how to program, how to do coding, and how can I um and and bring these two together? How can my work be more impactful in the future? But like there and probably next year. And that's the latest thing is about Tanama is what you guys just saw earlier in the opening. She presented this event, which is an honor for me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It
Thank
says here
you.
that Panama is a superhero with special powers to support small, older farmers and women farmers in particular as they overcome tremendous hardships and fight off evil forces to combat climate change through tree planting around the world. Have you touched base with any of these small farmers over the course of time to see, what their experiences have been like from then to now?
Oh yes, in the South, and I've been there, and our challenges, our especially that's happening, it's not easy for them to, and I've also men and uh we think about the man as a strong individual and doing everything, but it's very in the farms are rocking things, and yes, it's how they work hard, and was able to talk with them. Actually, in the first volume of the comic book, I've put real. I asked them for the permission to put them in my comic book. So
Beautiful.
we have real women farmers in the comic book as well.
Wow, that adds a real life touch to everything. So yeah, thank you so much, Tony. Your camera is off. Did you turn it off?
I did not turn it off, but because when I try to enable it, say you can't start your video because the host has stopped it, so it's not on my end.
Oh,
Yeah, the
I
audio, the audio was kind of a bit,
sticking out here.
yeah. So
I thought
we
that was me.
we took it off. Hey Tony, how you doing, man? This is excellent news that I just heard.
Yes.
I still look forward to our collaboration, and as you said, nothing happened before its time. But
Yes,
congratulations, my brother. Congratulations, my
thank
brother.
you,
You are in
thank you
Mexico
very much.
right now? You in Mexico City?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
currently in Mexico City, and I'm looking forward to in the future to meet you doing such and it's very inspiring what you're doing, and more from you. How can we collaborate, of course? And I'm looking forward, to it. And you never know, maybe in the future we can have a live animation movie, or a
Yes,
movie,
I'd
gonna
love
have
There's,
that.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
Panama,
going to have that.
agri.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. No, maybe in that we are going to have that. We're speaking it into being.
It's already
yes, yes,
done.
yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Powerful, brother. Powerful. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much. Thank you so much, Tony. What do we have next on the plate?
So now we're gonna blaze it up a little bit more. I mean, we keep lighting the fire more and more and more. And I have the pleasure to introduce my friend, capital Friend, straight out of Guayagarari. I know some of you might can't spell that because I was in university when I still couldn't spell it, Guayagarari. Yeah, it's in Trinidad and Tobago. My great friend, Zakia, who's about to come on and share, how she uses spoken word, as a poet to be able to deliver such powerful messages about climate change, etc. Of course, I'm going to read her bio for those of you all who haven't heard about Zakia just yet. This is your chance to hear more and understand who she is, where she comes from, and why she does what she does. So Zakia Griot Gill is an internationally recognized multi-award winning poet, writer, and educator from Guayagarari Village, Trinidad and Tobago, that has innovatively used the art of spoken word not only as a tool of entertainment, but also to educate and inspire change. Ms. Gill has served as a youth governor of culture with the NGO, Youth Government of Trinidad and Tobago, where during her tenure, when lobbied for the implementation of the orange economy, very important. One of her main aspirations is to utilize the arts as an ideal tool to educate children and youth on gender-based violence, which was evident in her pilot program, Project Elevation Spoken Word Workshop and Mentorship Program. A mentorship program and spoken word competition where she served in the capacity of project coordinator and tutor. Recently, Ms. Gill won a National Youth Award from the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service for contribution to arts and culture in Trinidad and Tobago. From 2020 to 2022, she has been a finalist at the First Citizens National Poetry Slam, and 2022 embarked on her first spoken word production entitled Unspoken, and was the featured poet at this year's St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Ms. Gill stays dedicated to community work and capacity building, and has in the past served as a policy and advocacy officer for the Nariva Mayaro District Youth Council 2023. Ms. Gill is the chairperson for the Guayagarari Secondary School Board, which was appointed by the Ministry of Education. This year, under Project Elevation, Ms. Gill distributed 50 hygienic care packages and 100 sanitary napkins to tackle period poverty in her community. Very important. Ms. Gill stays committed to her first love, is spoken word, that has seen her collaborate with Hitman, Micah, TJ, Chinese Laundry, and the Black Box Crew, and has had the esteemed pleasure being the featured poet for Patrice Roberts, Strengthening of a Woman concert series. Wow. Miss Zakia in the house. And I know for a fact, I remember the first time hearing Zakia's spoken word. Like when you hear somebody, immediately you say this person connect with you, her message is powerful. And I don't know if you remember that I was in Grenada when I heard it, and I messaged you, was it 12 o'clock that night?
Yes.
I messaged you, I said, hey, we had to do something, we had to talk, we had to, you just couldn't help it. And that was the power of her voice, not only reaching your head, but reaching your heart, so big up yourself, and it's a pleasure to be able to have you this afternoon with us. I just can't keep up with Zakia performances. I'm sure as soon as she's done here, she going to some performance some way, and she's just blazing a fire all the time. But anyhow, enough about me talking. Now are we going to show the spoken word video now, or you'll talk a little bit and then show it after?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, friend from Fredman, Mr. Senon. I'm thoroughly enjoying the discussion. I wish it was in person because I'm really big on human interaction and meeting and that connection thing, but I really like what I'm hearing. Such beautiful people, such talented people from the Caribbean that just really talented and passionate and have my creativity I just coming up with things in my head. I was like, wow, how could I connect with you all and we could work and just really have advocacy for climate change in the Caribbean. So I would start with the video and then I will get into my presentation.
Excellent.
Hello, my name is Earthworm, and I have a secret to tell. This space that I dwell in is not doing very well. Why? People are physically plundering the space that I dwell in. And it's not like we can just give it 2 Panadols for its cracks and swell because my abode begins to feel like a cell. What are you to help? Well, could you help me get this message out to the proper personnel? Yes. I need you to help me wiggle. Wiggle to save my home. Because when my home is healthy, it helps with decomposition. When my home is healthy, it helps with food production. When my home is healthy, the world will have food security. When my home is healthy, it consumes the minerals that are good to make my fruits grow. Do you know my home is responsible for trees and plants and humans and animals and birds to have protection and give them food and help them grow? So could you all help me wiggle to help these trees grow? Yes. When you mistreat my home, you pierce a hole in my most prized possession. And carbon emissions outgrow my slipper. Don't you tell me I should wear my size when your emission caused my home to be dry. So could you help me wiggle? And you could giggle. Alpha, with this book, I think we can converse how to convert the power of the sun and the wind to make energy diverse, to mitigate this adverse allergic reaction that is currently happening to my home. So, could we wiggle until the adverse effects of my home is reversed, until the secrets of the soil is told to every boy and girl on planet Earth, till the soil I reside in feels like home again, when we work together to make the soil live again. I am soil!
Yes. Ole blaze some fire, now, man. Blaze some.
Wow, that was amazing. Oh my gosh.
Come on. This is the power we're talking about.
That was so good.
This is the words of Zakia. Like, I don't know if you all didn't believe me before. You wow, that is the power. You know, of course, lovely video, lovely collaboration. Yeah. Zakia, I want you to just tell us a little bit more. I mean, I could say, but you on the spotlight right now. Tell us a little bit more of that inspiration that came out of you to put the lines together, to make the children wiggle, to make them wiggle. Like, what kind of genius thing is that? Tell us.
Well, it all goes back to my stage name, which is Griot. You know, some people call me Zakia Griot, some people call me Griot Zakia, some people just call me Griot. And in the true sense of the meaning of my name, roughly it means to help our people remember themselves, to help us remember who we are, to tell our stories. And I believe it's so imperative for me as an artist. When I stand to speak, when I open my mouth, it's always, I call it edutainment. So yes, you will get that educational factor from it, but I really believe everything I say, at least if one person remembers one line at least, I will feel fulfilled. In regards with that video, Alpha and I work alongside ICA, which is the International American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, through their climate change and sustainability program. Alpha actually, he reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, Zach, I have this idea. I'm launching this comic book, Agriman Secrets of the Soil." He was like, "I really, really would like you to be engaged." So I read the book and I was inspired by the book, because by the words of the book, by the pictures, the whole wiggle and the earthworm. And the beautiful thing about spoken word is that emotional connection, storytelling, given that diverse voices. So I think I have that unique ability where I could reach anybody on every level, from the smallest child to the eldest person you could think about. And it was a matter of, okay, how do I get children engaged? Yes, I do spoken word, it's rhythm and it's rhyme. I am passionate about climate change and the environment. This is about the third or fourth project I have worked closely with Alpha on, to promote agriculture in the Caribbean. So it was, okay, what do children like? Movement, they like rhythm, they like rhyme, and really and truly breaking it down in simple language and giving them movement as repetition where they could understand. So the wiggle, they were looking for the wiggle. Right, they were looking for
They
the,
loved it. They loved it.
they loved it. It was the
Yeah.
video really and truly didn't capture that entire day, because they actually learned while we were filming, because I had to say it maybe about maybe 5 or 6 or 7 times. So during the repetition, they started to pick up on certain lines. They started to ask questions, and Alpha was there, and the folks from ICA was there, and they were able to really and truly educate them. So educate them on the secrets of the soil. So that's the beautiful thing about spoken word and arts and entertainment. Is about feelings at the end of the day. Whether I feel happy, whether I feel sad, taking relatable life experience, right? Coming up with things like, God, the AC is broken down here. Could you send a mechanic? So is, the scorching temperatures we have been experiencing. So I use that creativity to draw people in. So when I said to draw them in with my storytelling, rhythm, rhyme, alliterations, onomatopoeia, similes, metaphors, I make sure when I rhyme that there's sense in it, that you could learn something, right? And that's the beauty of really and truly spoken word. In the video, as you can see, engagement. They could really young people, they like spoken word. Some say that, so some of them say I sound like a singing. So I don't know if that Trini in me, that natural rhythm, that bounce that I have.
But our Trini sing-song accent,
Sing song. I don't even see the sing song act that, draw them in that, because ironically, while you were taping, I don't know if I could remember, one of the young man, he was dancing right through. He was like, Miss, you're singing, you're singing nice.
Now,
Right?
Zakia, so I've heard about you. I've been hearing about you from the Carrefour Alliance family for quite some time now, and I am just so happy to experience you today for the first time. Hello. I am grateful to meet you. The works that I've seen just now, it's beautiful. I have a question, and I think that you're very beautifully positioned to answer it. And it would be, in what ways can climate storytelling and social media campaigns reach and engage traditionally undeserved or marginalized communities? Like, in your words, real
Yeah.
brief and quickly, how could you answer that for us?
I think is like a callaloo, a mixing pot. You know, one cultural relevance, tailoring storytelling and social media content to reflect the cultural values and the experiences of these marginal communities, right? By making the messages relatable and engaging, ensuring that they are represented, especially on social media, in the narrative, in the images. I believe it was, I took note, Aisha Constable spoke about with the photography, in the images, make sure that, you know, the voices feature in the climate storytelling is diverse and represent every single person. Is paramount to use local language and context that people could understand. So this is something I've learned now that I've started to perform for different Caribbean countries. Like, I have to learn the local balance and terminologies in order to connect. So use of local language and context, something that they could relate to, is very imperative. Community involvement and partnership. I really believe in partnership, really, really big on partnership, as I will partner with YFAM, Ministry of Sport and Community Development. Everybody is needed. Corporate, non-corporate, CBOs, NGOs, government. I think everybody has something to bring to the table. Of course, interactive content. Just last week, I was speaking with Alpha, ironically, about doing a spoken word workshop to promote food security and proper nutrition in the Caribbean. So I think like interactive content like that, you know, COVID had us online for a while, but I really believe I'm really on the ground type of person. Alpha will tell you, I really do farm. So it was nothing for me to go down in the dirt, and I like them. Maybe it's because I grew up country, right? And of course, listening and feedback. As much as we like to talk, at some point we need to stop and listen to what these communities are saying, and not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but working hand in hand with them to really achieve what they perceive as you know, of highest importance in their community. So yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Now, Zakia, that's like, I wanted to give the audience what kind of inspiration you feed from when coming up with a piece like what we just listened there, you know, like, and maybe what do you do? Because, you know, there might be other young or upcoming spoken word artists who might be listening to this eventually. You know, do you go outside on top of a mango tree and swing and start to write? Or do you, what do you do to get these words and put it together? Let's give us a quick, you know, response.
Firstly, I don't write about anything I'm not passionate about. So it is a feeling. It is since I was small, I always felt a lot about a lot of things. So I never knew from small growing up I was a budding writer. I never knew that what was being rooted in me. There's no structure really. Everything takes, for example, was reading your book, The Secrets of the Soil, putting in my feelings, my experiences. For some reason, I tend to write more when I go to the beach. If I'm being very, very honest, I tend to write better when I go and I sit on the beach and I write. For some reason, I could only write in Guy. I have tried it, but I always have to come back home and able to write. It just don't flow or feel the same. I don't know if it's a mind thing or mental block. Once I'm not home, but is writing the change I want to see really. Because it's easy to complain about everything that is going wrong, but it's more of the change I want to see of what I envision, you know.
Right. All right. Good. Well, thank you very much, Zakia. Continue to do that great work that you are doing. Continue to inspire change in the communities. Thank you for never forgetting where you come from. That is so powerful too. And as you say, you speak the truth into people and remind people of themselves. So lovely, lovely having you here this afternoon. And big up yourself once more. And you and I have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna get cracking next week on that project that we talk about. So thank you very, very much for spending the evening with us. I don't think you're leaving us yet, so hang around. All right. So
no. I want to wait to the end because I'm really intrigued. I want to see where this goes.
Right,
yes, I'm here.
All right, lovely. All right, so Jamila, back to you.
Yes. Okay. All right, so we're moving over to Guyana, to Dr. Bob Ramdeni. Are you here, Mr. Bob? Dr. Bob?
I am, Jamila, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for us all to just meet one day. I was saying recently that it's been a minute now since I've been communicating with a lot of you here on today, and just being able to connect in the person and the physical would be great one day. So I'm manifesting that for us. So going into you now, Dr. Bob, let me just do a brief introduction and we can have you present to us, all right? So Bob Ramdeni is a Pacific and arts activist and a cultural producer. He is a Trini, lives in Barbados and spends time in Guyana, where he co-founded the first camping music festival in 2014. He has been active and innovative in the arts arena at grassroots level to senior management in the UK for over 40 years, traveling extensively throughout Africa, Europe, and the Caribbean. Bob understands the power of the arts as a catalyst for change in human existence, and since retiring, continues to inspire young people in the arts through mentoring, training, volunteering, through research and development. Over to you, Dr. Bob.
Jamila, thank you ever so much. And thanks very much, folks. Good evening and good night to wherever you are. The wonderful thing is that every day of our lives, we live within and we are surrounded by the arts. The architecture we look at, the plants, the flowers, the photographs, the big posters, fashion, film, TV, the food we eat, the way it's presented, the way it's prepared, human movement. The most beautiful things about Caribbean people is the way we walk. And I'm not being gender specific there at all. The way we walk. And the depth of the subject today and the short time we have means I will do a very simple presentation. I'll use 2 video clips to help us to focus on the ongoing challenges we face with the climate. All of us live in villages, physical spaces where we are surrounded by friends, neighbors, and communities, and global villages where we are connected to by technologies. Rather sadly, though, more and more of us today are moving to global villages with new technologies, AI, etc., without realizing the natural and slow shift that is taking away from our own villages and transforming the beauty around us in many, many negative ways. So my first sort of point to reflect upon is how can we really be serious? How can we have actions by man, including the creatives, to address climate changes when we are surrounded daily by wars in those global villages? Here, I will ask my colleagues to please share with us the first video clip.
I'm exhausted. Last night I couldn't sleep, but when I did, I could hear bombs in my dreams. Nightmare situation. How could they be so evil, making martyrs out of children and innocent people? We expect the bombs, not knowing where next. Huddle in the corner of my room trying to protect my little brother as the building shakes like it's possessed, but nothing stronger than the will of the oppressed. I bomb back with my lyrics and rhymes, living the times trying to break the Palestinian minds. What's hiding in the clouds hanging over my head? My dad risks his life outside to buy bread. The fourth war in my 12th year. At this stage I'm numb, though I haven't feel scared. There's nothing I can do in this case to stay safe. I'm brave, even though this house could be in my grave. I want freedom for the population. 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. I want freedom for the population. 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. Mothers mourn, frightened with grief. White sheets cover bodies that lie on the streets. Buildings turn to ash, but my mind is made of steel. So it doesn't take much for me to heal. Won't lose the will to live or lose our minds. My auntie lost her home, so she lost her life, but she is still alive, but traumatized by the bombs that flew in and dropped at night. My sister couldn't sleep, tried to stop her cries. I said it was fireworks, I was telling her lies. Where's the compassion? This is heartless. It's like they want us all living in darkness, cutting off water and electricity for hours. They're knocking towers, but that's not knocking the power that I have in my pen. When I'm writing, I'm unstoppable. The microphone is the only escape possible, cause that's the way that I can speak my mind. I wonder, how does the fighter pilot sleep at night, knowing he can turn the city upside down all of a sudden, slaughtering families with the push of a button. I want freedom for the population. 2 million prisoners living in this location, shouting at the wall, but nothing is ever changing. That's life under an occupation. I want freedom for the population.
Thanks very much. His 12th year, and he's had 4 wars. And I really just wanted to use that so that when we reflect upon the UN's SDGs around the world, when we look at poverty, good health and well-being, education, gender equality, whatever it is of the 17 or so SDG goals, we have to really think of these global villages that are having other negative impacts on wherever we are, in the Caribbean, in parts of Africa, and in the Middle East. Government and international organizations, they can set dates, 2030 or 2050, we want to see these things happen. But they're not solutions. They are not solutions whatsoever. And very often they come with no resources and no actions. And this is exactly where the creative artist can be such a brilliant catalyst for change. We can work with people who are affected, women and children, Amerindians, where we work with in Guyana, in remote and isolated areas, low-income families. The key to us must be action now, because the creative arts can educate, inspire, agitate, provoke, support, complement, encourage, and most of all, heal. We need to heal the land, and creative artists have the wherewithal, without waiting for government subsidies and so. All of that is crucial to the long-term development. We must act. The arts must be tools for reparation and for construction. And I began this little session with a video of a young man using his art form to spread his message. And I'd like to end with another video clip where the Rupununi Music and Arts Festival is trying in its own small way to create a village, a festival village that focuses on living in rhythm with nature and using the arts as effective tools within large communities. We need to recycle and upcycle, and we need to develop our tree planting program. We need to create an Amerindian Museum of Living Arts so that the use of herbs and trees and plants as medicines become common and back into everyday usage. We must look at tree planting as sustainable economic activities. And if colleagues and friends have looked at how the festival participated this week in the week of activities, we did 2 sessions on the planting of cocoa as an economic activity, the use of cotton development, of creating cottage industries. So for me, and for creative artists and what the festival is trying to do, in relatively simple terms, where there is destruction, we must offer construction. Where there is despair, we must repair. And where there's hopelessness, we must bring hopefulness. So thanks very much. And I'd like to share another short video with you of how the festival is seeking to establish a cultural village in the Amazon.
The majestic Kanuku Mountains in the Rupununi region of Guyana offers a space for us to share and celebrate indigenous cultures, spiritual enrichment, artistic and creative opportunities. The mountains in the region reach out to us, unashamedly inviting us to live in rhythm with nature.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bob. It was indeed a pleasure having you here. And I am sure that every single panelist and all the moderators and all the event coordinators would love to be in that festival coming up when you make it into a reality. I know for sure I want to come and play some pan. I want to bring Zakia to do some spoken word. I want to bring Agriman. I want to bring Tamana. The whole works, you know, we definitely look forward. And very relevant messages.
Well, and I'll tell you, the focus of the festival, we've not changed. The focus of the festival is really to engage first and foremost Pan-Caribbean and South American artists. So that's whereas before we would invite North Americans or Europeans, but they could afford to come to us. but our focus is to nurture and support Caribbean and Pan, and to develop a philosophy that says, for example, with every ticket you buy, we'll give you a tree to take home. So you'd have the choice. We're looking at three sets of trees, really. Trees is medicine, trees is fruit. So you might say, I'd like a breadfruit tree or coconut tree or whatever. So the idea is to encourage people as they leave us, and very much in a Christian way, I'll just make that one statement. We're not going to give you a full-grown coconut tree, a full-grown breadfruit tree, but what we want to sow are seeds that will give you full fruits. So that's our message.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, it was indeed a pleasure having you. Jamila, you have any questions for him, or you want to transition right away?
Yes, definitely. So thank you so much for sharing that, Bob. We have a question for you, and we'd like you to just briefly answer it so we can go into the next segment. So here goes. What are some potential pitfalls or challenges in using social media for climate communication, and how can they be navigated? What is your take?
Well, we live in this world where SM is inescapable. It's the real world we live in. And of course, like everything else, it can be used for good. It can engage communities. What we're really trying to do, and where we'll use social media, is how do we galvanize and work with and be a part of their local communities. Our accent is working with local communities. And at the end of the day, is that enabling force where, for example, as I said, we're looking at tree planting. We have 2 sessions that are taking place in Guyana this month and next month, where we are working with an artist from Suriname next month to look at upcycling. So how do we recycle garbage? And some of that we can upcycle, making musical instruments from a lot of the stuff that we are throwing into the garbage bin. So next month in Georgetown, we're running a pilot project for 4 days with an artist from Suriname on upcycling. Now, you have to share information on SM. SM also is a key vehicle to attract young people. That's the tool they use. That's where they search for information. But you can, as we do, we use YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. We share everything we do or have done with the festival over the last 7 or 8 years. We share all that stuff on social media platforms to really encourage people to get actively involved.
Thank you so much. Speaking of social media, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, the website, www.rupununifestival.com. If you just put RUPUNUNI, Rupununi Festival, into the website, there's loads of information of our colleagues and some of the stuff we've done over the years.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Bob. We're looking forward to all the amazing work that you're
Yeah, and we're looking forward to have you guys in Guyana one day.
Yes, same here.
Yes. All right, great. Thank you, Dr. Bob, once more. So I want to quickly transition over into an amazing performance. We have Miss Olivia Wilmot, who is a Jamaican nature lover, mother, wife, artist, and teacher. For Olivia, individual and social healing go hand in hand. As a Jamaican singer, songwriter, and leader of Earth and the Fullness, Olivia released EP Yuya in 2020. Hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Her latest single, Gratitude, combines captivating music and visuals of Ishak Wilmot photography to showcase the beauty of Bull Bay's beaches. In alignment with Gratitude, Olivia organized an online panel discussion titled Living in Gratitude, affirming value for our beaches, assuring our rights, comprising experts, entrepreneurs, and youth to affirm Jamaican citizens' value for our beaches and educate the public about the critical nature of the current laws affecting beach access. Interesting. She also hosted a Taino gratitude ceremony at 8 Miles Beach, followed by a live performance on the beach. The ceremony was led by Kasike Nebonert, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correct, Kaiman, Jamaica's first installed Kasike in over 400 years. The panel summary for the online discussion is now available and being distributed as an ebook. I'm going to find that. With a formal background in early childhood education, psychology, anthropology, curriculum and instruction, and certification in ancient Egyptian yoga. Interesting, I'm going to a yoga event next. Olivia continues to work closely with children, parents, and caregivers in a variety of ways. Most recently in 2023, co-organizing and hosting the first two Jaminisha family festivals, bringing intergenerational families together to create art and music out in nature. I love this. Up next is her first full-length album to be released this year and advancing projects for children and parents. Olivia, I didn't get some of the pronunciations correct. I have to work on my, I don't know, some of them might be patois or what, but you could tell us. But yes, over to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And you could take center stage.
Okay, give thanks. Give thanks. All right. No problem, right? Everything is okay. The one with the X is Nibon Rish.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So greetings, everyone. It's really a joy to be here. I am going to just kind of share a little bit, just some more visuals based on what was said in the introduction. But it really is an honor to be here just to say and hear all of these really inspiring works that everyone is doing, and just to be a part of a whole week that's really dedicated to these very important issues, and to see the arts fully embraced in that whole discussion shows the progress that we're making as a people, because culture is expansive and it's inclusive and it's everything. So we have to make sure that we bring in all of the different aspects and show that it's not just about entertainment, right? But artists have a voice, and there's a lot of meaning to life that we're sharing in what we do. Okay, so I will just share this presentation just to guide so that I don't ramble. Just give me a moment. Let me get this going. And thank you so much for the introduction. All right, so active intersecting. So this is me and all of those things that we spoke about there. Essentially what I've been doing is really making everything as holistic as possible and just letting it naturally manifest that way, because we don't live in segments, right? We are at all times, and you're a single entity, yes, but you are connected to so many things, and everything is connected. And so fortunately, it's been manifesting in that way, also looking at connecting art, connecting education, connecting family, and then making connections within those spaces as well. Connecting with indigeneity and our indigenous culture. In Jamaica, the Taino culture, a lot of people assume that it is dead because we have read that and been told that so many times in our history classes and in our social studies classes, but it's just simply not true. So making those connections as well. So I'm really an ocean person. I know Zakia was talking about writing by the beach, and I can definitely identify that. I love the sea, and it's always been a big part of my life. And this photo here shows my husband, Aishak Wilmot, who did the visuals that we're going to see soon, and our youngest son, Mikhail. And this event here where they're surfing was actually standing in solidarity with all of the movement that was taking place in the US with regard to Black rights. in 2020. Surfers all around the world. I'm not a surfer, I'm a swimmer. I'm a surf mom though, so before you ask. But surf communities all around the world gathered to show solidarity with, you know, the Black people, the Black population in the States and their particular struggle, but also identifying that as a Black and Indigenous and people of color generally struggle around the world. And this photo from Aishak is just to kind of give an idea of exactly what this relationship with the water is like for me. It is very immersive. All right. So essentially, when the idea came about now for what to do with this song, Gratitude, which is essentially just a poem going about just sharing gratitude to the Almighty, sharing gratitude to the Creator. It was actually Aisha who started creating the visuals without me even knowing. And that led to the inspiration now to make it something more expansive. So putting out the song so that we definitely have the song, and that's the core of it, but making it more expansive to speak to this thing that we're really passionate about, which is the beach and our access to it. We are learning and understanding that in 1956 there was a law passed. So this is just a few years before independence. So definitely having lots of Jamaicans in Parliament at the time overseeing this act that essentially gives Jamaicans no rights to the beach at all. At all. And so that is basically how we end up in this situation where every year, especially in the past 20, 30 years or so, every year there's less and less beaches that you can actually go to because people can own the land around the beach, and there's nothing in the law to say that you have to provide access to the public. So you could have whole communities living there being removed. People no longer have access to their fishing beaches. They're no longer able to sell their wares, sell their food, their crafts, no longer able to go and relax, which is, you know, such a huge part. Like, you know, like to think about going to the beach and relaxing as something that is a privilege or what you call it, a luxury, but it's not. It's a necessity. It's an essential thing. So basically, through reasoning with Aisha, with my friend Tammy, who runs a media company called Rights and Culture, we came up with this method of basically ensuring that this message gets out to everyone in every way that we could get it done. So formally through public education and documentation, that's with the panel. And we ensure to have children on the panel as well, because their voice is very important. And you can see immediately how people are being affected by the beach. We had the visuals as well, so that everyone can really see what is at stake. One of the beaches that's being featured is directly under threat now by developers. It's a massive beach that a lot of people from Kingston and St. Andrew go to, that Rastafari communities have gone to for refuge, that, you know, families have lived on and cultivated access for the public to. And it's under threat now from the same law. And then to seal it up now, you know, we have the opportunity for once to actually participate in a gratitude ceremony and learn about Taino cosmology, Taino worldviews, and be able to participate in the ceremony, giving gratitude for their lives and whatever within their lives they want to give gratitude for, and also communicating directly with the sea. So it was like, you know, cultural immersion. A lot of people may not know that even out at that beach, as we're talking about climate change, 9 Mile Beach or Bob Marley Beach, there are freshwater ponds there. I never knew this until I spoke with Sister Kamala, who presented there as one of the families who has been fortunate enough to win the legal battle to get a title for the land where they are on the beach. But they're also protecting this freshwater, which naturally is going to come under threat if there's a massive development taking place there. As you can see, we had the children were featured in the newspaper in a children's supplement. They did a great job, and they were up there right along with the PhDs presenting. And then we had the video come out next. And as you can see, people really connected with it. And you can see this picture. I don't know if you can find me on this picture. Give a thumbs up if you can see the human being in this photo. But I'm going to invite Kevin now to share at least some of this music video that we created in honor of our beaches, to show that it's not some wilderness for anybody to come and take over. These are places that we love, that we treasure, and are a real part of our lives, and we want our rights secured.
Thank you, love, for showing me the ways to heal in this time. Thank you, Jah, for patiently awaiting my insight. Love is true, I have heard and found it to be so. May I be a shining light, still listening tomorrow. Gratitude spilling over, a new return twice over. Love that I have for you, guidance that you make true. Gratitude spilling over. Gently you, sometimes stern, but never beyond reach. Call me and lead me on, though you're still beside me. Nature, your loving arms, feeling how you speak. Sound and power, loving me beyond what we can reach. Gratitude spilling over, a new return twice over. Love that I have for you, guidance that you made true. Gratitude spilling over, 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 yeah,
All right. Give thanks. Thank you for sharing. So, as you can see, these are beautiful, pristine waters. They've had their own struggles because the reef that you see there has come under a lot of challenges over the past few decades, in the 80s, particularly with some dynamiting that had started to happen, but that was quickly curbed. And now the threat is, of course, the warmth of the water causing bleaching and definitely development, which is only gonna make things worse if it's not done in a conscientious way. So I hope you enjoyed that and can see what it is we're really trying to save here. Not a lot of people know that Jamaica has black sand beaches, and you know, they're valuable too and beautiful too. They have their own energy. This is an image from the ceremony that we had persons from the community. We had persons from all around the world, really, as small as the group is there that you may see. We had persons from Bull Bay. We had persons from Kingston. We had persons from Spanish Town. We had persons from Egypt, from Japan, from Austria. So we were very well represented there globally. And because of the nature of the event and the nature of what we're doing, this is something that is really meaningful and community building. So people talk about what they're doing together, and of course afterwards as well, because it's real. It's a real ceremony. And then we had the performance after, which, you know, my band Earth and the Fullness creates reggae music. Not only reggae, but all of the musical forms essentially that come together in the diaspora. So where we are right now is that the panel discussion, I've made it into an ebook by essentially going through the transcript and creating a document with all of the salient points, quotations, links to resources from the different persons who presented. Because, for example, we had the director for Jamaica Environment Trust is one of our major environmental advocates here in Jamaica. Founding member of JABEM, who, you know, is actively helping to lead the fight in the courts now for access to beaches and doing a lot of public education with regard to beach access law. The words of the children, which are, believe me, very powerful. So I'm hoping everyone can get, you know, access to the link for this document and share it widely. The music and the visuals are online, so you can, you know, always tap into that gratitude and give thanks. So that's my presentation. I'm supposed to perform, and so Thank you
I
so
will.
much, Olivia. Before you even go into your performance, real quickly, because we're kind of
Sure.
strapped for time,
Mhm.
we want to ask you, how do personal narratives and individual experiences of climate change help to create a sense of urgency and relevance among the public?
Well, I mean, because first of all, when you're sharing direct experience, then automatically it has more meaning, right? Because it's something that you experience. So any kind of question that's being posed or any context that you might be in where you are now going to share, you can find that meaningful angle, or you can be accurate about what it is that you're expressing because you have had that experience. And then for sure, as far as everyone else is concerned, I think the more that people engage with nature and engage with the environment, then that gives them that powerful personal narrative to be able to say, this is something that we really need to save. And that was something that we really wanted to bring out in the panel by having persons whose lives are directly affected by the access to the beach. So for example, the children. So we had one boy presenting who is my son, but he grew up basically with full access to the beach because our family actually lives there. And so his experience of the beach now and how he grew up and all of the different things that he can identify about it, he was able to say so much. And then we had girls now who live in Portland where you can hardly find a beach to go to. You can hardly find a free beach to go to in Portland right now because it is being made into a luxury resort parish. And so these beach access laws are being utilized to the fullest.
and their access is severely restricted because now you have to have money, and you also have to be very close to the two beaches that they knew of that are more or less free. So they were able to share their perspective on how they see it affecting their community and their peers, in this time, even coming out of COVID. So it's very important to have a personal narrative and for more and more people to identify that within themselves so that we can actually pressure people who have the power to, write the policy, to pressure them to write policy that is at our advantage, at the benefit to the people directly, not just development indices, economic development indices, which don't necessarily mean anything to anybody on the ground who doesn't already have a ton of money. So
Thank you so much. We'll now hand over to you to take us into song.
sure. All right. So as I'm singing, I just invite you to, really either pay attention to your heart and pay attention to your thoughts and embrace gratitude that you feel within yourself for whatever comes up within you. Gratitude, the energy of gratitude is a beautiful healing thing and definitely something that strengthens us to move forward. So as we're all here doing all of this work and making all of these, relevant connections in the different communities to support climate health, I just invite you all to bathe yourselves in some of that energy of gratitude to give yourself a strength to move forward. I'll also say thank you to you for everything that you have been doing. All right, so this is gratitude. Thank you, love, for showing me the ways to heal in this time. Thank you, Jah, for patiently awaiting my insight. Love is true, I have heard and found it to be so. May I be a shining light, still listening tomorrow. Gratitude spilling over. A new return twice over. Love that I have for you, guidance that you made true. Gratitude spilling over. Gently you, sometimes stern, but never beyond reach. Call me and lead me on, though you're still beside me. Nature, your loving arms, feeling how you speak. Sound and power, loving me beyond what we can breathe. Gratitude spilling over. A new return twice over. Love that I have for you, guidance that you make true. Gratitude spilling over, 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 over. Na 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 na. Gratitude, gratitude. Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you so very much. So now we're going to lead into Professor Rosalie Hamilton, who will lead us out with the reflections of the Character in Action Week and also lead on our thoughts and reflections. Thank you so much. Over to you, Rosalie.
Thank you so much, Jamila, and thank you, Olivia, for helping us to show the enormous amount of gratitude to so many people across the Caribbean that has made Caribbean Philanthropy Week in Action possible. It was an amazing week. There's so much talent on display, so much professionalism, so much information shared that my job here is just to say thank you. And you've made it easy. And we have a few people who are going to tell us, just reflect a little. We're running out of time, so just 1 minute reflection on all that we've done. And I'm going to start with Talia Mohammed from Trinidad and Tobago, who has been one of the movers and shakers behind this entire week. Over to you, Talia.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to start the reflections off by uniting us, similarly to what Olivia just said, and to bear in mind a word that came out of the panel on climate discussion on Wednesday afternoon, which is we are guardians. And for us to be reminded that the work we are all doing, be it actual academic work, theory-based work, work also in social and environmental justice, it all is coming together very quickly and rapidly. And I would like to remind everyone about the work in climate action and its parallel to climate justice, environmental justice, and social justice. And for us to act as guardians for that. And I really want to ask everyone who is part of this week in action to support us as we move forward. All the organizations and all the collaborations that came out of this week is definitely setting the stage for a full advocacy campaign on the Escazú Agreement in the Caribbean to ensure that we advance these agreements also and reflect them in national governance for each country, and hoping that you guys could come on board when that project starts and when that action starts. We really need a similar network that there is in Latin America and the Caribbean called the Climate Action Network of Latin America. And we need a network similar to that to come together for the Caribbean to really support Escazú. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we now have, we're going to hear from Renee Taus from Suriname. Is Renee here? He's been one of the movers and shakers as well behind all of this. Renee? All right, so I don't know if we have Luke.
Unmute, Renee. I think he's muted. So he just needs to unmute.
Unmute, Renee.
Am I on board now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I don't see the video. Okay, it's only voice. Okay, it doesn't matter. Hello, everybody. Well, and in Suriname, we did a lot of work during these days. We executed 13 activities, and those activities, most of them was to bring awareness throughout the population, and we did it on national level. We were on the coastline, we were in Paramaribo, in the city, we were in the west, we were in the interior. We plant trees, we bring youth on board, we give them awareness, we bring deaf on board, we give them awareness regarding climate and environment. Especially, we focus on food, on the youth. We also focus on food security, telling the farmers how to handle their empty pesticide containers. We also bring on board farmers in another district to tell them how they can use pesticides in a responsible manner. we adopt mountains, we adopt trees, we adopt parks. We did a lot of things in Suriname. And I am very happy that most of the people work together with us. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Renee. All right, and I think we now we're gonna hear from you, Bob. You're gonna just give us a quick reflection and wrapping up. You're doing amazing work in Guyana. So let's hear your quick reflection in a minute. Just unmute for us.
Thank you, Rosalia. Amazing work. It's credit beyond recognition at the moment. We are developing pilot projects, and I'm sincerely looking forward to when they begin to mushroom in reality. Well, it was the first time, as you know, the festival has been involved, and I was fortunate to attend quite a few sessions during the week, which I found very informative, very useful, and I sincerely hope that, as Talia was saying, that there would be a continuum of networking and discussions between us all, because there are so many things that are happening around that we can certainly learn from in Guyana. And there's certainly things, because our emphasis is definitely in focus, is on arts and the environment. That's our project. That's what we're working on. And I look forward to working with colleagues around the Caribbean. So thanks very much for inviting the festival to be a part of this week.
Thank you so much for your contribution, and to all of you who have provided important insights, understanding, creating the kind of Caribbean networking and interaction that makes CARICOM and Caribbean togetherness possible. So with that, we've said a lot. And Jamila, I don't know if you have a last word for us. You've done an amazing job. And again, congratulations for being an environmental ambassador. I'm here in Jamaica, and for doing the wonderful work you're doing. Final word?
Final words would be, I have 3 words: gratitude, collaboration, partnerships. Those are the things that drive the work that we do, and without them, we can't really get anything done. So I just want to thank everybody for making this week possible. And we've ended on a very strong note, literally, as creatives and musicians alike. So thank you everybody on today watching this recap, and I hope it inspires you to fuel a positive and fruitful future. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Jamila. And I'll end on 2 notes. 1, love. Love you all.
Love.
Thank you.
I was afraid of climbing mountains, but now I'm willing to fly. My tears have built fountains, left me empty inside. Finally it came to me, I was being my worst enemy, and the battles I've been fighting were against me. Positivity I changed me mood, me a rock this brand new attitude, dancing to this rhythm of life. I'm a lady, so life better treat me accordingly, just like a queen wearing my crown, I deserve it. I'm a lady, so life better treat me accordingly, just like a queen wearing my crown, I deserve it. It's like I found a little secret and I can't keep it to myself. If you're looking for some answers, I hope this could help. Every new morning when you wake up, just look in the mirror and say, I'm a brand new me, ready to take on the world today. Positivity, I changed my mood, me a rock this brand new queen, wearing my crown, I deserve it. Oh, when that booty go, booty down, down. I'm confident, don't get no wrong impression. Worthy and proud, I sing it loud. I am woman, 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 woman.
Nice.
Bye, everyone.
Still there. I should have said bye.